you also did a good few interviews. One I'm very curious about it. I watched it from the beginning to the end. Was with Ian Bailey, which was I think one of his last interviews. It was not the very last one, but it was maybe like 6 months before
No.
he passed.
Well, I can tell you now about Ian Bailey's interview. That actually was done 2 nights before that film came out. And before I actually conducted the interview, I rang Ian Bailey. I rang his solicitor. I explained to the solicitor the way I was going to approach this interview and the questions that were going to come up. Now, there was a bit of comedy, like, as regards the way I was talking and things, like, the topics I was bringing up. But I found him, look, and I'm not criticising the man, he was an eccentric. But I kind of got to people knew Ian Bailey for what he has been or has not been accused of. But at the end of the day, I want to see the other side of Ian Bailey. I done the same with Eddie Hobbs and with Isabel Mahan. And last year, I had a very unique girl on it. She had done very well in the Young Scientist exhibition, and she developed a child safety app. So I got her on and I interviewed her, and she, to be honest about it, I say I was only speaking for about 3 to 4 minutes in total of the 15, 20 minutes, and she just had me mesmerized with the stuff she was telling me about and how this whole system worked. And I said, look, this is the way forward, it's people like that I'm interested in getting on, because these are the people that I would look at in the future, you know what I mean? Say, this is where our future is.
Yeah, 100%. What was
Now,
your
I did get
impression of?
Eddie Hobbs as well.
Yeah.
Go on, yeah.
Sorry. No,
What
sorry.
was my impression of?
Of
What
Ian
was my
Bailey
impression
of him. Yeah.
Well, look, strictly off the cuff. Yeah, I said, look, he was an eccentric, and that's the only way I could describe the man, as an eccentric.
Yeah, I mean that's for sure. I unfortunately I haven't met him in person. I was thinking a couple of times to go to what was the market where he was selling the book. Was it? I don't remember. In Bantry.
Bantry.
Yeah, I was actually in Bantry before I heard about him, but maybe I saw him, but I didn't know who was he. But I saw the documentaries and not how was he perceived, say, by the community in West Cork? Do you have any idea about it?
No, I had no insight into the man in that way. I had no insight into him whatsoever. It's just that I took the man on face value. I knew that he had a background in journalism, and he was a poet as well. So he just basically talked to me about his life growing up, the influences he had in his life. Like you, Vitor, had influences the same as I had influences, and we took the paths that we took. And that is basically it, like.
Was there any insight on his work? Because I haven't had a chance to read his poetry, but I'll be very interested. I even thought at some point, to translate it to Portuguese or to Spanish, because I read him. I listened to him reading the poetry. It seems very interesting, but there was some constraint about promoting it, because you can be associated to someone who is he was not convicted, but he was on the radar. And I think people would think twice before being near him. Did you have that concern when you interviewed him, or you didn't care?
I took the man I took the man on face value. The way I wanted to interview with the man is I didn't care about what the media or what the legal system has said about him. That's not to do with me. I wanted to get an insight into the person himself, i.e., what motivates him, what drives him as an individual, and what drove him into journalism. You know what I mean? You see, like, everybody has a path in life. Now, I don't know who influences your path in life or the paths you take in life, or who at that. There's people we meet going through life who either say a thing or approach it in a certain way, And what happens is this. It leaves us to think about it. And suddenly we realize as time goes on, yeah, there's something I should have done with my life.